Been on the road the last few days? Where you been?
No, not me. Not me. I haven't. I spoke one time in Arizona for a, it was a special thing. I went in for one day to speak at a luxury home tour for, they can only sell or sell. They can only, they sold tickets. They can only sell every other, every now and then, my shameless plug, every now and then, my managers get me to speak somewhere. So not as the VP of sales, but as the author of Success is a Verb.
Yep.
So it was my covert evil little plan. So that's what they got me to do. And I went in to speak in for that. And then they invited me to come back. I'm going back in September to do it again.
Very good.
Beautiful golf courses in Scottsdale, let me tell you.
Man, my golf game has gone right in the tank since I came to work here. I don't know what's going on.
We'll have to play sometime.
Yeah, I would love it.
And Mike to set us up a foursome at one of his wonderful, I'm sure he knows all the good courses in town.
Yes, that's right. We'll have him take us out to Dragon Ridge and play, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Linda.
Oh, there's a face. Hi, Linda. So good to see Linda.
Hello there. I'm here.
All right, Derek.
Somebody needs to mute that phone.
Yeah, I'm going to find that person right now.
They're walking in a mall.
How come I can't mute them? Interesting. It's very strange. That's weird. Hi, Michelle. I can't find that person.
Is it
Not
me?
you, it's not me.
Is it coming off?
It's right here.
Okay.
All right. Somebody who's on here, you're screwing up the whole thing here. Turn on, mute your video, please. Mute your, they can't even hear us probably.
I think it's at the academy there. It looks like that's the one that the microphone's moving on when they talk. So I think that's it. Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Okay. I had to mute myself.
Good.
I hate when I have to mute myself. Although sometimes that's probably a good idea. Or at least hold my tongue, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got 1:30. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very lucky today to have Tony Smith, VP of the Mike Ferry organization. Take it away, Tony, please.
All right. I am thrilled to be here. As always, I would like to announce to the group that in my work here as the VP of Mike Ferry's office now, I've had this exposure to the other side of the curtain at a level that I never thought would happen, and that is the exposure to the broker world in North America. And for everyone watching today, you'd have to, and you don't know me well enough to know, but if I could say the words trust me, you have to trust me where you work is the right place to work, okay? Because what's going on in North America today with brokers has been shocking to me, of how brokers throw people in the corner, no services, no support, no anything. Where you guys are and what you do is a rare spot, so enjoy it, okay? Thank you, right? Rick, for the work you're doing.
Thank you very much, Tony. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, we're going to talk about time management, the great equalizer, right? Time management is the great equalizer. And it's an interesting phenomenon in the real estate business more than probably any other industry for several reasons. One, I want to have you think about back when you took your real estate licensing exam. Do you remember that whole segment of questions you had to answer to be sure that you knew how to manage your time? Wasn't there, was it? And then when you went back to renew your license, they didn't say, okay, now have you figured out how to manage your time or you don't get to keep your license? It wasn't there either, right? And then we have the entire industry that is okay for us to walk on the street and bump into each other as real estate agents. And we bump into each other. We say, how you doing? Oh, I'm so busy. Oh my gosh, you cannot believe how busy I am. And that becomes an acceptable dialogue. All the while, the average per person productivity in North America is less than 4. So we have an industry that sells less than 4 homes each, and everybody is completely okay saying how busy they are, and it's acceptable to us. So now we're stuck in this place, in this weird zone as real estate agents, right? The industry standard doesn't require anything, okay? We're all okay telling each other how busy we are, and then the productivity is really low. And the centerpiece of that is time management. And boy, can we look busy. Oh my gosh, you know how busy, you got 3 computer screens and you got paperwork and you got your watch hooked to your phone. Man, in like 2 seconds, you can look like you are swamped, can't you? So you add all that together and boy, we can just be unproductive when it comes to time. So that's the ground. And now it feels like I'm picking on real estate agents. I am one. Okay. I'm a practitioner. I've been a real estate agent my whole life, along with Rick. That's the world we've lived in for our entire adult life. So I'm picking on myself too. Okay. So I want you to understand is we have some cards dealt against us when it comes to managing our time. In most of the other worlds of business, they're held in such a tighter box when it comes to time that it's not that hard. In our world, we've got more work to do. Okay, it's a fact. So I want to have you start by writing the number 168. 168. 168. Every single one of us has the exact 168 hours per week. Not a second less, not a second more. We all have exactly the same amount of time per week, right? And then isn't it something interesting to you that we can have agents that sell, 4 houses and take 5 listings a week in that 168 hours? And then we have an agent that looks just as sharp, big a smile on their face, looks just as capable, and the only thing they were able to accomplish was 1 termite problem, right? And that happens every week in the real estate industry. So the first little assignment I'm going to ask you to consider is to smoke out if you're really busy or not. And the way to do this is you start with the number 168. And then I want you to pay yourself first. And I want you to do all of the things for your life first. How many hours do I need to sleep to get a good night's sleep per week? Okay. Well, I need a good 10, 12 hours. No, right? No. Okay. So I need 7 hours. I really feel like 7 hours solves my problem. Okay. So I need 49 hours a week of sleep. So you take 168 minus 49. How many hours do you need to stay physically fit, to get to the gym, yoga, stretch, walk around the block? How many hours do you need? Well, I need a good 4 hours a week. Okay. Minus 4 hours. How many hours per week do I honestly want to dedicate to enjoying my family, my wife, my kids, my spouse, my significant other? Right? Well, I want a couple hours a night. And I want all day on Sunday. So I want 10 during the week and I want 14 on Sunday. I want 24 hours a week to enjoy my family. Okay. Well, I need to enjoy myself. So how many hours a week do I deserve to go play golf, to learn to play piano? I don't know. Right? I need 4 hours to play around a golf every week. Subtract it. And then we start getting into the business stuff. How many hours do I need for prospecting and lead follow-up? And how many hours do I need for appointments? And how many hours do I need to manage the administration that I have? And how many hours do I need for, research and skills improvement? Okay. Anybody I've ever gotten to do this exercise gets to the end and they go, all right, there's 25 extra hours here. I've slept, I've eaten, I've worked out, I've played golf, I've prospected. There's 25 extra hours in the week. What the heck is going on with my time? Okay. This is the first realization many people have about this whole concept of being busy. And so I want you to really try this exercise for yourself. If you have the courage to do it, I want you to try this exercise and come and be honest and come to the end of it and have a true realization of time. Well, Tony, I put down 7 hours a night of sleep, but I sleep 8.5. All right. We found one of our first problems, right? Or Tony, I put down, 15 hours of prospecting, but I'm only prospecting 4 hours a week. We found another problem. Or Tony, I put down 15 hours for admin. We have a major problem, right? And so I want you to consider this time study right from the gate. Okay, it'll help you understand it. All right. The first major point I wrote down, if you want to ever be successful in real estate, at some point, you've got to learn to set a production-based schedule on your goals. set a production-based schedule on your goals. Okay. And Rick knows this, and we've been around Mike Ferry long enough that we've seen agents typically take one of two paths when it comes to this schedule business. Okay. They either take the path of osmosis. That's the path where you basically end up setting your schedule because of the people you hang around and the way they behave. And, you know, the other people in the office, they all come in at 8 or 8:30 in the morning. So I don't feel any pressure to get in here at 7. I'm going to come in when they come in. They seem to run off for a 2-hour lunch a couple times a week. So I just run off for a 2-hour lunch. Many of them go out, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go put a lockbox on in the afternoon and never come home, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? And so a lot of agents choose schedule by osmosis, just by who they're hanging around, which is a huge mistake, okay? Or the other side of the coin is a lot of agents will come and say, okay, Tony, you tell me about the biggest, baddest rock star agent you know, and you tell me about their schedule, and I want to copy that, right? Okay, well, you know, Hal Swayze's pretty good. He sells 175 homes a year and has for 20 straight years. You want his schedule? Yeah, give me that. Okay, well, he wakes up at 4 o'clock. I'm waking up at 4 o'clock. And he runs, he's an athlete, so he works out for an hour. I'm going to work out for an hour and a half. He gets to the office by 7 a.m. Well, I'm going to try to get there by 7 a.m. He prospects for 4 hours a day. Not doing that. Okay, right? He has room for 3 listing appointments a day because he's presenting once and twice every day and sometimes 3. Well, I want to do that. Okay. That pathway fails too. Okay. You don't do it by osmosis, and don't make the mistake of, because you get excited, that you want to fire out some schedule that is shooting way over the top of your goals. Okay. Mike Ferry sends us a business plan every year and says, fill out the business plan. And every year there's a blank schedule in there. That is designed because you're supposed to learn how to design your schedule around your goals for this year. Now, if you're going to do 30, 35 deals and that's your goal, then you should design a schedule that works for 30, 35 deals. Okay. If you're a superstar already and you're doing 100 deals, of course your schedule has to be tight. If you're trying to do 12 deals this year, Mike Ferry, do them in January and enjoy the year, right? Okay. So I want you to really work hard to not be so manipulated by how you're going to set your schedule. Set it around the goals you have. Okay. Understand it. We'll get more to it in a minute. Okay. The second major thing that Mike has been trying to get us to understand forever is that you need to decide the days you're going to work for the year. Okay, this is something that most agents won't do. You know, Mike, early in the 70s, right? He would pull out the day timer. Some of you, Linda, you remember the day timers? We remember these day timers, right? Okay. So he'd pull out the day timer. Okay, January 1st. I'm not working. It's New Year's Day. January 2nd. Yes, I'm working. Okay. I want a listing appointment at 3 o'clock, listing appointment 3. I'm going to present at 5, listing appointment at 5. I prospect from 8 to 11, 8 to 11. And he would literally go every page of the daytime. My birthday, I'm not working. Okay. And he would literally decide the days he's going to work for the year. Right? And there's such beauty in this. If you would take the rest of this year, get a calendar out and look, okay, how am I going to take some days off? Is it going to be a week or 10 days or 2 weeks? How much time am I taking off? Am I going to take 3 days off for Christmas, or I'm taking the whole half of December off? Right? Am I taking the Sundays off, or am I working weekends this year? And if you'll honestly pay yourself first the days you believe you should have off, and then count up the days that are left, that becomes the pathway to the days you're going to work. And then we ask you to go ahead and give yourself a 10% margin of error. So let's say in the second half of the year, you're going to work, 142 days. Okay. We got 142 days. 10% of that is 14. I'm going to give myself 14 days to screw it up. Want to go play golf on a Friday? Good. Use one of the days. You get a cold for a couple days, you don't feel quite right, you take a day, you take a day. You want to run down to the beach in California for a day spontaneously? Go ahead, but you only get 14, right? And if you'll take this approach, you get the best of both worlds. You feel like that you're seriously getting to enjoy your life, but then you also get clear on the days that are work. And if you'll do that, you have a fighting chance of managing your time so much better. Okay, so I'd ask you to really start seeing the year. Most real estate agents won't even contemplate work days for the year. They just go along as it goes along, okay? If you'll have some faith in this, you will find a much more productive path this way, okay? I wrote down, having a precise schedule can solve all of your income challenges. Okay, we all know, like, it's not hard to figure out good things to do in the day. It's not hard, but having a precise schedule is what will solve any income challenges you have, right? Here's the big, what I would call the big kind of sham or the big confusion in real estate. The big confusion that we have is that we allow admin to take up so much of our life. That's the big rub, is that this admin can just explode and it can take every ounce you give it, right? But what we need to understand is that the schedule that we have, 75% of it has got to be income producing activities. And we have to force it. Basically, your job becomes forcing the animals out of your den. You've got to force admin out of there. You've got to force all these things that are trying to suck your time. And you've got to be very, very aggressive at forcing that out. And the best way to force it out is to spend 75% of your day in income earning activities. Guess what? There's only 4. There's only 4 things in our business that we've chosen that actually make money. There's only 4. There's prospecting. Prospecting makes you money. There's lead follow-up. Lead follow-up definitely makes you money, okay? There's being on an appointment. You're with a buyer or a seller, you're presenting. That makes you money. Or you're negotiating a deal. You're actually writing the offer, negotiating the counter offer, putting the deal together. Those are the only 4 activities in your job that make money. Everything else is servicing. So what we suggest that you start to get your head around is that 75% of your day needs to be spent in income earning activities. And you've got to force all of the rest of it into 25% of your day, which is admin. Man, if you can ever get a handle on this, you will make so much money, you won't be able to stand it, right? Because the industry, the reason they allow everyone to say they're so busy all the time is the industry is okay with the admin taking 75% of your day, right? The industry is okay saying you must be busy if you spend all day returning some phone calls on a file, or if you spend all day solving a termite problem. The industry says that's okay. Well, the Mike Ferry organization says it's not. We say that you need to condense it, okay? So you need to design a schedule that 75% of your day is spent earning money. But Tony, I don't have any listing appointments this afternoon, and I don't have any deals to negotiate today. So you're telling me I got to spend 75% of my day prospecting and doing lead follow-up? If you had that courage, it would only be a matter of time when your afternoons are full of appointments and negotiating. Okay, but you got to have the courage to do that. Well, today, I'm trying to get 2 hours in, and I'm prospecting, and I'm struggling getting 2. And now you're saying I'd have to prospect 5 hours today if I ever want to get close to this 75%. That's what I'm saying. Okay, it's the best way to contain admin is to have this courage. Man, if you can ever control the administration of the file, you have got it made over almost every other realtor on earth if you can control it, okay? I wrote down, this is a major one, okay? It's major generally, but it's also major because of this COVID business we've been going through, okay? I'm going to suggest to you that you identify today your 2 or 3 biggest distractions. You have to identify, you have to be willing to stand up and say, I am distracted by, and you have to put those up there and announce out loud what you're distracted by. What are the 2 or 3 biggest distractions in your business world, and figure out how you're going to eliminate them. You know, like the pest control company, you're going to eradicate them. You're going to put bug spray on it and kill it off forever. What are those distractions? Okay. This thing right here. Everybody's got one of these goofy things, these things. Everybody's got to have one of these, the big old iPhone 99, right? And everybody's got one of these things. These things have become a black hole to distraction. Like these things right here. Okay. They only make you money when they're right here on your head. But 99% of the time, they're right here. When they're right here in front of your face, they don't make you money, because when they're in front of your face, you're texting, you're emailing, you're Facebooking, you're doing whatever you do. Email, you know, you're in the internet shopping, right? These things will open up a portal to distraction. Has everybody here tried the iPhone battery usage challenge? You want to have some fun? When you get a free moment, you take your iPhone, you go into settings. You go to general settings and you go in and you scroll down, and one of the things you check in settings is called battery usage. And you click on this battery usage and it's going to pop up and say, okay, in the last 24 hours or the last 7 days? Okay, 7 days. In the last 7 days, here is the percentage of time you spent in what apps on your phone. And it'll just print it right out. It'll go, okay, you spent 22% of your time texting on this thing. You spent 31% of your time on Facebook. You spent 18% of your time on some shopping network. And you spent 1% of your time on the phone. And it will literally tell you what you're doing with this portal to distraction. Okay, so maybe this is it. Maybe it's not. Okay, maybe it's email. Maybe you're an email junkie that you just can't stop, right? It's email back and forth. Maybe that's it. Okay. In COVID, I know that many people, you know, fathers and mothers, right? Daughters, sisters, husbands have become the nurse, the teacher, the real estate agent, the psychiatrist, the psychologist, and we've had to become all these things because of the environment. Okay. To the point where some of it has gotten to the point where it's a huge distraction. Okay, now this is a little aggressive, okay, but honey, you can't call me 98 times a day asking where the peanut butter's at. I've got to start protecting your financial future now. Like I literally can't get involved with that all day long every day now, because okay, do you want to find the peanut butter or do you want to go to college? Okay, let's choose, right? It's just a fact of life, and there's no fault in it, except that I would ask you to stop it now. If you have a distraction of some type that is opened up in your world, I need you to work to eradicate it. What are they? We all have them. Okay, what are they? Maybe it's somebody in the office. Okay, do not eradicate somebody in your office under any circumstances. Okay, but you might have to have a little conversation. Hey, listen, we've been gotten in a little bad habit. We like to chit chat, and it's been chit chatting all day long. And lately it's been, 1 and 2 hours a day, and we're doing that. Do you mind if I'm not, I like you, but do you mind if we kind of get back to work? It's okay. You've got to decide what those distractions are. Okay. I wrote down next, treat this like a real job. Man, if we could have you just see real estate sales like a real job, just like everyone else out there, the schlubs all walking around out there in the street in their real jobs, you would make so much more money than all the people with real jobs if you could just treat it like a real job. Okay. I asked Neil Weichel. Neil Weichel, many of you know. Linda, you know Neil, right?
I do.
I've asked Neil Weichel. Neil Weichel, he's been making about $2.5 million a year for almost 20 straight years. Now, I don't know about you, but when you start getting around the $50-60 million in earnings selling houses, you're pretty good at your job. Okay. And I asked Neil, I said, what's the secret after all this time? He said, Tony, you've known me forever. Okay. You know what I said, what is the secret? He said, I go to bed at the same time every night on a school night at the same time. Okay. You know, remember school nights? Remember on Sunday night through Thursday night, you had to go to bed at a certain time. Friday and Saturday night, you get to stay up a little later. Okay. He goes to bed at the same time on a school night. He gets up at the same time and he opens the door, goes into his office at 7 a.m. every day, 5 days a week. And I said, well, you're telling me that's the secret. He said, Tony, I get at least 2 more hours of work per day than any real estate agent I know in town. Tony, I work 250 days a year. I get 500 hours more work than the average agent in town because I walk in at 7 instead of 9, 10, 11. And he said, you take 500 hours of work, divide it by a 40-hour work week. 40 goes into 500, what, 10, 11 times? He gets 11 more weeks of work than the average person. 11 more weeks a year. It's no wonder he makes a fortune, okay? Treat it like a real job. I wrote down next. Some of you, and you're going to know who you are as soon as I talk about this, you're going to know if you're one of them. Some of you need to limit the amount of time you work to be more productive. You know, it's very common in real estate for some agents to be the ones that are there 7 days a week. They come in early. They are there at 7, 8 o'clock at night. They're there on Saturdays. They're there on Sundays, right? You find them in there on Christmas morning for a few minutes and then they dart out, right? There's some people that have allowed real estate to be it. Okay. What we find is that's not very productive. So some people, if you're one of those people, you know who you are. If you're one of those people, I'm going to strongly suggest that you dramatically shrink that down. Okay. I mean, you have to ask yourself, if I end up doing 10, 12 deals a year and I'm literally hanging around real estate 70 hours a week, is that negligent? Like that starts to become negligent. That starts to become like, oh my gosh, I'm giving 70 hours of my precious life a week and I'm doing 10, 12 deals a year. That's starting to become gross negligence with your life. Okay. I'm going to ask you to start pushing that down. I wrote down 30 minutes of every hour. Man, I have to tell you, if you're way off base with time, if your time is pretty scattered, okay, if you will simply start by deciding each hour, what is the absolute best use of my time this hour? What am I willing to hone in on and laser focus and just be like the world disappears and I'm going to focus in on for 30 minutes of this hour? And if you could decide that every hour for 5 or 6 hours a day, in many cases, that would produce more than the way you're doing it, right? In my career, I was sloppy with time. Okay, when I started, I was very sloppy with time. Here's how I figured it out. Okay, I made a decision, and I don't know what caused this decision, but I made a decision that every hour on the hour during the workday, I was going to say aggressively out loud what I was supposed to be doing that hour. And in my office, it drove everybody nuts. Okay, I would get in at 7. It's 7 o'clock. The best thing I could be doing is scripts and role play. It's 8 o'clock. The best thing I could be doing is prospecting. Now, in the beginning, it didn't mean I was doing it. Okay, but I would say it out loud what it was. It's 9 o'clock, still prospecting. 10 o'clock, third hour of prospecting. 11 o'clock, return calls and lead follow-up. 12 o'clock, lunch. And I would announce it out loud every hour vocally. Well, pretty soon, you can't help but force yourself into that space because you're telling the world out loud what you're supposed to be doing. Do you know how embarrassing it is to stand up at 2 o'clock in the restaurant and stand up and go, it's 2 o'clock, I'm supposed to be finishing my admin, but I'm still eating lunch. Okay, you talk about dialing in your time, right? You can't help it, all right? But 30 minutes of every hour, all right? I also believe it's time for another exercise. I believe it's time for everybody today to consider next week, Monday through Friday next week, if you're working next week, to consider getting a blank scratch pad. And for next week, as honest as you can be, and I know how hard this is, as honest as you can possibly be, write down exactly what you do each hour next week, just during the week, work day, okay? 7 o'clock, got to the office, had a cup of coffee, ran into Bob, we talked for 20 minutes, got back to my office, got a couple of emails returned. 8 o'clock, was getting set up for prospecting. A call came in from my past client, ended up on the phone for 20 minutes, made 3 contacts, was fairly distracted. 9 o'clock, solid hour of prospecting. I was focused the whole hour. I talked to 9 people. And if you would take every hour for just 5 days and honestly write down what you're doing, okay? At the end of the week, you will have this incredible realization about time. And I mean, just honestly, nobody's watching, nobody cares, right? Do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. At the end of this week, you're going to look at it and you're going to go, okay, how much of this was income earning versus servicing? How much of this was prospecting, lead follow-up, appointments, negotiating? It's one way to finally have the big grand awakening of your time. And is it safe to assume, right now, let's assume something. Let's assume just by doing the exercise that it's probably a little better than normal, right? Just by you writing it down every hour, it's probably going to turn out a little better than you do normally, right? So you have to appreciate this exercise. Okay, it's an exercise that I've done. I've skipped years before. There's been years that I haven't done it, but it's an exercise that I've done at least one segment every year, practically over 30 years. Man, talk about the great balancing act. It'll teach you what you're doing, okay? So I wrote down this, okay? Really important, okay? Make your schedule public. Man, if you want to understand time, make your schedule public, right? The world of real estate does not even consider a public schedule, right? They don't, like, the schedule's hidden. Okay, this is all of us, real estate agents. Wow, honey, I am exhausted. You would not believe the day I had. It was one of those days off the charts. Well, honey, what did you do? I don't even want to talk about it. Is there any wine in this house? Because I had one of those days that's all days. Well, come on, tell me what got done. Let's just forget about it. I want to relax and put my feet up and hopefully it goes away. That is a normal conversation at home after a real estate day, right? Anybody watching today have kids? You want to have some fun? Okay, men, if you have a young daughter, you want to have something that'll straighten you out for time. Honey, you know, as your father, I've promised you a lot of things and I want to promise you the best of everything. I want to promise you the wedding of your dreams when you grow up. And I would love to promise you that you can go to any college you want to go to. I want to set you up in a way that you have a life that I would only imagine for you. Would you like to see my schedule? You connect those dots between somebody that you really care about in your life. You connect those dots between your time and those kind of conversations. You will follow your schedule. Okay. Should you give a copy of your schedule to your clients? I say yes. I say your clients should get an outline of the way you want to run your day, and you should take a second with your clients. Hey, Mr. Seller, do you see this section right here that says prospecting? Do you know how that benefits you? Hey, do you see this segment right here that says lead follow-up? Do you know why that's good for you? Hey, do you see this segment here that's held off for appointments? And you see this little tiny box right here that says admin? Do you know why it's so important that I keep admin in that little tight box right there? Your seller's going to love every minute of it, right? Scott Tucker. Okay, so I coached Scott Tucker in Riverside, California for a long time. Scott Tucker owns his own little company called Tucker and Associates, right on Main Street, Riverside, California. I challenged him. I said, Scott, you're a little sloppy with your time. Okay, what do you want me to do? I want you daily to take a copy of your schedule and stick it in the window of the office on Main Street, Riverside for everyone to see. What? I want you to stick it on the glass for walker, you know, it's Riverside, people walking up and down the street. For 1 month, Scott Tucker would stick his schedule up on the glass. And you talk about somebody who got their schedule locked down. It's incredible if your schedule's public. Like, why wouldn't you want to make your schedule public? You don't want anybody to know, right? It's interesting, isn't it? Okay. We also know that if your goals aren't strong enough, you're going to have a time management problem. Okay. If your goals are not strong enough, it is a direct pathway to a time management problem. We know it's been proven. The people that have the most compelling goals manage their time better than the ones that don't. Right? I also believe that COVID allowed a lot of people to separate from setting goals. I just know that a lot of people, because of COVID, had a little interruption in their goal process. It's just life. We got locked in, and it was serious, and it was real, and all these things, and I can appreciate all that. It's okay. And it's okay if you had a little lapse in goal setting over the last 12 or 15 months. It's okay, as long as that's over today. Okay? It's okay as long as you stop it right now, right? If you look back and go, wow, we didn't plan anything, I didn't set any goals in the last year, I just was hanging on. Fine. But we need to get back to goals. Imagine this incredible group of agents that is all accumulated here. We all leave for Hawaii next Wednesday. We got a 14-day vacation. We're going to put on the obnoxious Hawaiian shirts. We're going to eat sushi and snorkel and paddleboard, and we're going to play golf. And we got 14 days in Hawaii. We all leave next Wednesday. How much do you get done between now and then? Oh my gosh, the house gets in order, all your people get called, the files get put together, you take that listing, you do that deal, your desk gets cleared off. You do so much because great goal, good time management. When you have incredible goals, you manage your time, don't you? When you don't have incredible goals, okay? And it could be as short term as this. You come in the morning, you look down at your schedule, not much going on. You don't manage your time today. There's no appointment this afternoon, no deals to negotiate. And then you get one little thing done for the day. No goals for the day. You don't manage your time for the day. Incredible goals for the day. You manage your time for the day. Right? I wrote down next, we need to all do a better job of personally understanding what motivates us. Okay, if you ever want to be great at managing time, you need to go on a mission in life to understand what motivates you. It's different for everybody. Okay, what motivates you? And you've got to really start understanding that. What motivates you? If you can't ever figure that out, then you're going to have spurts of good time management, but the majority of your life you don't. But boy, if you can find the recipe of what motivates you, you can stay in a solid use of your time most of your life. Mike Ferry, my God, 76 years old. He'll go play golf in the morning, come in here and get more done between 12 and 5 o'clock than most people get done in a month because he's highly motivated all the time at 76 years old. Okay, so I'm giving you another homework assignment. Rick, I guess I'm giving him all the homework today. I've got another one for you.
Nice.
Okay, good.
We need it.
We need it. 3 blank pieces of paper. Today, sometime today, I want you to take 3 pieces. This isn't a long homework assignment. I want you to take 3 blank pieces of paper. At the top of the first page, I want you to write the next 5 places I'm going to go. And I want you to write the next 5 places I'm going to go. It doesn't have to be an elaborate trip to Greece. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe you just want to go to a ball game. Maybe you want to take a 3-day weekend. Maybe you do want to go to Greece. But what are the next 5 places I'm going to go? Page 2. The next 5 things I'm going to have. And I mean the next 5 things I'm going to have. Maybe it's an apartment building. Maybe it's huge. Maybe it's a new watch. Maybe it's new living room furniture. Maybe it's a new car. Maybe it's a new house. I don't know. But what are the next 5 things you're going to have? And then the third page, what are the next 5 things I'm going to do? I'm going to break through this many deals. I'm going to take 5 listings in a month. I'm going to, I'm going to learn to play piano. I don't know. But what are the next 5 things you're going to do? Okay. Motivation to me is getting clear on those 15 things and then doing them all this year. Now that's motivation to me. That says you've decided on 15 things you're going to accomplish between now and the end of 2021 and purposely go on a mission to check off every one. Man, I went and saw a Dodger game in LA. We took a week's vacation to Hawaii. I bought new furniture for the living room. You can get 15 things done in a half a year. Easy, if you're motivated. And then guess who's managing their time better? Now you got stuff to do, right? Nothing more detrimental to time management than an open calendar. Man, an open calendar is a license to do nothing. You got to figure out what that is, okay? I wrote down another thing that I just believe is we just know it's true, okay? It's been proven. It's been proven that to-do lists don't work. Okay, so it's been proven that they take all these people and they study who makes these to-do lists. Are you one of those people that makes a to-do list all the time? You ever notice how you knock out the first 3 or 4 important things and the rest of the things kind of stay on the list a long time, right? To-do lists don't work. Okay, what does work are appointments. Appointments work. Okay, do you ever just skip an appointment for the doctor? Do you ever skip a listing appointment? Do you ever skip an office meeting appointment? Once in a while, right? But the truth is, we rarely skip appointments, but we'll always skip the to-do list. So what I would challenge you to do is, yes, you're going to make a list of all the things you want to accomplish in your business, maybe in your life and at home too, okay? And I want you to start taking 2 or 3 or 4 of those per week off the list and put them formally into your calendar. Right? Man, I want to do some research on this one subdivision in Las Vegas that I really want to do some research because I think I want to start expanding my business there. Good. I'm going to do that Tuesday at 2:30. I've got to really dig in and I've got to clean up my database. I've got to purge this thing and clean out some people that shouldn't be in there. I'm going to do that Thursday. I've got a gap at 1 o'clock. Okay. And if you'll take 3 or 4 items off of this list and make official appointments, it does 2 things. First, it trains you that you're supposed to do stuff every day, all day. It trains you. And then second, you get more done. Okay? So I'd ask you to start moving from a to-do list to what we would call is called a default list. You have a default list and then you pull things off of there and you plug them in. But Tony, I got to have room for appointments. I know. And if you come across a seller and he says, I can only meet you at 1 o'clock on Thursday, and you look at your calendar and it says Thursday at 1, you're supposed to do some research. Are you okay knocking that out of there and going on a listing appointment? Of course, right? Why is it the doctors double book all the appointments? Why is it that they double book? Because they know that some of you don't show up. So sometimes if you get unlucky, you sit in the waiting room for an hour. That's because everybody showed up and you were double booked. But if somebody doesn't show up and they only single book, now you've got the receptionist and the nurses and the doctors and all the staff and expenses sitting there doing nothing for an hour. Man, is that expensive. You've got to learn to do that with your schedule. Okay. So there's one other point I want to give you, and this is the most simple view that I think you can look at your daily schedule. Okay, this is the most simple view. Okay, so I want to give you this point. We're going to have room for some questions if you have questions about this. And then I've got an exciting announcement. Okay. This is my way to have you maybe see being productive daily. So just write it down and then you can think this through. Okay. From 7 a.m. to noon, 7 a.m. to noon, right next to that, find business. Find business. From 7 a.m. to noon, find business. From noon to 3 p.m. From noon to 3 p.m. Finish admin. Finish admin. From 3 to quitting time. From 3 to quitting time. Do business. Do business. If you could start seeing your day, every single thing you do from 7 a.m. to noon has got to help you find business. It has to help you find. Does staying up till midnight drinking 9 cups of coffee in the morning, does that help you find business? No. Does coming in first thing in the morning and diving into a problem escrow help you find more business? No. Does coming in and starting a deep, long conversation with somebody else in the office help you find? No. Does eating a good breakfast help you find business? Yes. Does getting a little exercise help you find business? Yes. Practice your skills? Yes. Prospecting, of course, right? So at the end at noon, you should be able to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. Honestly, how would I grade myself on finding business this morning? Right? Then the next segment, 12 to 3, finish admin. We want you to set up your world that you're going like this with admin. How fast can I return the calls, get it done, solve the problems, fill out the paperwork? It has to start feeling urgent. You're urgently getting the admin done because you've only got till 3 o'clock and you have to get it finished by then. You return all the calls, you check the boxes. You do. I know there's stuff, but you get it done. 3 o'clock, how would I grade myself on finishing admin? And then from 3 o'clock until you decide today, I'm going to work till 6 p.m. tonight. Did you go out and meet some people? Did you have an appointment? Did you get a deal put together? What did you get done that actually would equate to doing some business? How would you grade yourself? I'm here to tell you that if you can get 7s or above in those 3 areas most days of the week, you'll make a fortune in this job. A literal fortune. You make $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a year. If you can honestly give yourself 7, 8s, or 9s daily in those 3 categories. You know what I'm talking about. Well, admin, I started at noon, but it took me until 5 o'clock. How would I grade that? A 2. It took too long, right? Well, prospecting, I made 5 contacts this morning. How would my grade be? A 2, right? So let's look at that approach, all right? So what I'm convinced is, I gave you 2 or 3 homework assignments today. I'm convinced that most of you will do them. I'm hoping everybody, but I'm convinced most of you will do the assignments. And I'm convinced when you do, that you're going to be well on your way. Can you imagine you do the 168-hour challenge, right? You track your time all week next week, hour by hour. You make a production-based schedule and you start sharing it. You share it with a bunch of people, right? You make the list of where I'm going to go, what I'm going to have, and what I'm going to do. You do these 3 or 4 things, you're well on your way to managing your time. Okay, that is my approach. Questions about any of this stuff? Anybody have any questions? You throw them in a chat box. I think I could see that if you do, or if you want to say it out loud, I'm good with that too.
Tony, it's Linda, and I really like the time study that you put out there. And also the 5 to do this, 5 to have that. It's a refresher. I've done the 100 things list before.
Yep.
With John Joseph and a few times, but I like the number 5. That's highly doable.
It's doable. It's measurable. It's something you can get. That's why we reduce it. It's kind of the what I would call the borderline post-COVID exercise. Let's get back in a very goal-driven approach, right? Earl Nightingale, we do not have problems achieving goals. We have problems setting them. Okay, I want everyone to consider something. I want you to honestly think in your life, and it's tough when I keep saying be honest because we hallucinate a lot. But if we can train ourselves to be honest, honestly, what have you really wanted in your life that you didn't get? Like in your life, what were you completely denied at? Okay, now I've heard this before. Some single ladies or men go, well, I've wanted a great wife and that hasn't worked out so good. Okay, I get it. Okay, but did you wanted a bike? You got a bike. You wanted your first car, you got your first car. You wanted your first job, you got your first job, right? You wanted to buy your first house, you bought your first house. You wanted a new apartment, you got a new apartment. Most people get about 95% of what they really want for their entire life. which proves it's not about achieving goals. It's your ability to set them. Okay. If you learn to set more, you get more. It's a fact of life. Great question. Thank you, Linda. Anybody else? Oh, 4 production things, 4 things in your schedule that are production. Okay. It's really simple. Think about the word plan, P-L-A-N. Prospecting, lead follow-up, appointments, negotiating, plan. Those are the 4 things that make money in real estate. Every single other thing is servicing. Great question. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions about running your time, running your life, managing it better? So you guys want to hear something fun? We are live in Las Vegas in July. Yay. Okay, I am thrilled to death that we have been approved to go live. They're going to let us have as many people as we can get in that room. Right now we have 1,450 people that have already registered to go to that event. Here we are in the first part of May, and there's 1,450 people that cannot wait to get back in front of Mike Ferry for 4 days. 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th of July, live in Las Vegas. It's right in your own backyard for most of you. You guys going to let many people from around the country get into your house and take what's there? This is your house. You don't let people in your house. You come to your house and you take over, right? So I would count on probably, I don't know, 100, 150 of you to be there. I would love to see 150 agents there, all excited, looking Mike Ferry in the eye, ready to take their business to the next level. The good news is, because of what Rick has done for you as one of the elite brokers, it's half price. Okay, so it only costs you $195 to go, cost everybody else twice that, right? So you need to decide that that's going to happen. For many of you, don't even have to pay for a hotel, and you know, commuting all the costs. You drive to the office, right? You basically show up there in the morning. So I would like to challenge you to challenge yourself to not let anybody in your house. You come there and show up and take over what you can do here in Nevada, Arizona. We're here, right? So I want to have you consider that. There's a little code, okay? So it's ELITE, because you guys are elite agents. The word ELITE, E-L-I-T-E, SSR, Superstar Retreat. Elite SSR, all caps. You go on our website, you plug that in, you get the half price, okay? I really would expect to see a lot of your smiling faces there here in a couple months, right? Be the first major live event in North America, we believe, coming out of this deal. So I'd love to see you all there. Any final questions as we wrap up? Anything we need to do on this, Rick? Questions, thoughts?
No. Anybody? Any questions? I love it. I thought it was great.
We're here. We're ready. The notes will be shot over to you, like always. So Rick, if you'll distribute those, everybody can have it. I see you're recording it. You can use this however you want to help everybody's lifestyle get better.
Yeah, the notes will be sent out to everybody, as we always do, and the video will be on my YouTube channel forever and ever. Amen.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Rick, as always, thanks. I can't wait to see everybody.
Thanks, Tony.
And I meant serious.